Hi, all of our Cheetah graduates. This is Miss Hatch, our DRW Alumni Success Coach, and I'm excited to talk to you tonight about financial aid. Breaking it down, we're going to be having a great discussion about the financial aid application, better known as the FAFSA. I'll be giving you some really cool tips and tricks, and we'll also be going over some myths. And then I'll break down also for you on how to successfully, complete the financial aid application. So let's dive into it. This is for the 2023-2024 school year. We'll go over some myths and facts. We'll talk about financial aid. What is it? We'll talk about cost of attendance and expected family contribution. We'll also talk about financial need, and we'll talk about some other sources in regards to the FAFSA. So let's talk about some myths first. And the first myth is that the FAFSA form takes forever to fill out and it's really hard to do. That is not true. In reality, if you've got 30 minutes to spare, you are all good because that's about how long it takes to complete the FAFSA form. So it's not nearly as hard as you think. And so take about 20 or 30 minutes to fill out. It's not hard to do. It's easy. Another myth is that the federal student aid is just free money, like grants. In reality, federal student aid includes 3 different kinds of financial help. Grants is just one of them, right? But there's also loans and work study, which we will be breaking down today. Another myth is my parents make too much money, so I won't qualify for aid. In reality, there's no income cutoff to qualify for federal student aid. There are a lot of factors taken into consideration: family size, how many years you've been in school. Filling out the FAFSA automatically applies you for state funds and possibly for your school as well. And some schools won't even consider you for any of their scholarships until the FAFSA is submitted. And so think about scholarships as well, that, a lot of them are not income-based. So it doesn't matter how much your parents make, you can qualify for aid. Another myth is that you can't file for the FAFSA in October because you haven't applied to any schools. You can absolutely still complete the FAFSA before submitting any college or career school applications. You'll need to list at least one, but as you complete the FAFSA, as soon as you know that you've been accepted to a school, you can add those schools as a correction, and you can add up to 10 per correction on your FAFSA. So we'll actually dive more into that today. Another myth is my parents aren't U.S. citizens, so there's no way I can get aid. Here's the truth. Your parents' citizenship status is not a factor, and the FAFSA form won't even ask you about your parents' citizenship status. So if your parents don't have Social Security numbers, they must enter 0000000 in the FAFSA portion about your parents' identification. And we'll talk about that today. So let's dive really into the meat of everything. What is financial aid? And financial aid is really funds provided to students and their families to help pay for your educational expenses after high school. I want to dive into cost of attendance because this is going to be a big deal. And the cost of attendance really gears towards the school that you're planning to attend. So as a lot of you guys are in school now, but even some of those that are seniors or in high school, you want to look at cost of attendance of a school because this is important. It's an estimation. It's an estimation of expected cost of how much it'll cost to attend that school. So direct costs, when you look under direct costs, this is how much it'll cost to, kind of directly attend the school. So this includes tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies. Indirect costs is usually things like medical expenses, personal expenses, transportation. And usually when you are working with your college counselor, you've heard them say, well, we're going to take direct costs into consideration because this is primarily what you should be focusing on when you are estimating the expected cost to attend the school. Another thing you'll see in regards to financial aid is your EFC, or your expected family contribution. And basically, this is a measurement of your family's ability to pay for your educational expenses. This is a combination of your contribution as a student and your parents' contribution. Financial need, basically what we look at is that cost of attendance. How much is it going to cost, the expected cost to attend that school. And you basically, want to subtract the expected family contribution, which is your EFC. And then that's how you come up with your financial need, which is what is your out-of-pocket cost to attend that school. Here's some types of financial aid that you'll see in regards to your school when you're looking at your financial aid award letters. So you see loans and work study are kind of on the self-help aid, side. So you'll see loans, you'll see work study. You'll also see scholarships and grants, which are more on the gift aid side. Loans and work study. So loans have to be paid back by you. Work study is something that you actually have to work and earn in order for that to be put towards your cost of attendance. Gift aid, scholarships, and grants is pretty much what we consider to be free money. Sources of financial aid. So where does financial aid actually come from? So here are some various places where financial aid can come from. It can come from the federal government. It can come from the state that you live in. It can come directly from the college or university. It can come from a private source, and it can come from an employer. So those are different types of financial aid. Under the financial government, this is pretty much the largest source of financial aid, aid awarded primarily on the basis of financial need. So this is why making sure that you are accurately putting in information in your financial aid application. You have to apply each year using the FAFSA, and eligibility requirements must be met. Federal student aid programs include federal Pell Grant. There are some service grants on here that you can see. One that's probably familiar is Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. You see work study, you see some student loans, you see a teacher's grant, and you see some plus loans. So this is just like a general, the most popular in terms of student aid programs. From your state, again, you can also receive financial aid. Usually you have to prove that you're a resident of that state. It's award, the aid is awarded based on merit and need. You want to use information from the FAFSA, or information will be used from the FAFSA in order to see if you qualify for any financial aid from the state. Colleges and universities also, can award aid. It's also usually based on merit and need. And this could be gift aid, which is, again, a scholarship or a grant, or it can be self-help aid. School can give you loans as well, or work study. Application again, or the information again from the FAFSA is used to basically for the college to decide what they can offer you. Private sources can come from foundations, businesses, churches, civic and charitable organizations can offer financial aid as well. It could be a scholarship or a loan. Again, deadlines and applications vary based off of the organization. But this is something you usually are researching on your own. The suggestion is to make sure that you are researching, that your research is ongoing for private sources, as well as early as possible as they have deadlines. And then also your employer. So I know there are a lot of places like Amazon or Starbucks that give out scholarships. UPS is one of them too. Companies do have scholarships available to you as an employee, but also to children of employees. So you can check with your parents, place of work. And a lot of time, again, employers give scholarships to employees if their children are in school. So it has a lot of benefits as well as an employee. So that's something that you can check as well. So let's talk about how you actually apply for aid, which is a very important part, as we talked about all of those different types of financial aid that is offered to students. It lets you know how important the application is. So what does FAFSA stand for? It's Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So let's talk about what the FAFSA actually is. So it collects demographic and financial information, and it's information used to calculate the expected family contribution. Colleges use your EFC to award you financial aid. It is available in English and Spanish, and it can be filled out at any time during the academic year, but not earlier than October 1st. But most colleges set a FAFSA filing deadline. So make sure that you are understanding the deadline from your actual college. The FAFSA is open now for the 2023-2024 school year, and it's going to be for fall 2023 and spring 2024. So here's where to begin. Just start collecting important documents needed to fill it out. You want to make sure that you got your social security number, that you have the citizenship status, that the marital status is also there. You also want to make sure that you have the correct taxes, your income, and other financial information. Your selective service registration, if you're a dislocated worker status, untaxed income, you want to make sure that you have all of that information. Here are ways to apply. There are several ways to apply. You can do it on the web. You can do it via the mobile app, which is called My FAFSA. And it's on the My Student Aid mobile app. You can also do it via paper, PDF. You can do it over the phone, or you can do it through CPS online. So the first thing you want to do is create an FSA ID, which if you are renewing your FAFSA, this is something that you should have already did already. You want to make sure that if you're creating it for the first time, you're doing it as a student, and at least one of your parents have to create it as well, to at least to electronically sign. So if you've done it already, I would say make sure that you are creating or saving this FSA ID somewhere in a safe place. I will say if your parents have multiple children, they can use the same FSA ID for all of their children. It needs to be important for you to create this ID. Only you as the owner or the student should be creating it. The next thing you want to do is go to www.fafsa.gov, and you're going to click on where it says apply for aid. And you're going to do returning user for those that are renewing. If this is your first time, you'll do start here. So here are the sections of the FAFSA. It's going to ask you for your demographics first, your name, your address, your school selection, what school you'll be attending, and then your dependency status. They'll ask you for some information about your parents, financial information from you and your parents, and then you'll have the opportunity to sign it electronically sign and submit, and then it emails you a confirmation. If you are completing FAFSA on the web, again, you want to make sure you're clicking on apply for aid. And then if you are renewing, you want to make sure you're clicking on that you're logging in. And remember, you use your FSA ID and password as a returning user. And then if you're new to the FAFSA process, you're going to be completing the FAFSA form. If you're going it on the web as well, you want to put I am the student. So you want to make sure you're clicking on that. If you're using the mobile app, kind of the same thing. You want to make sure you're clicking on where it says kind of start here. Make sure that you complete, save, and submit the FAFSA. And it also prompts you to create a save key in case you want to go back and make some changes or complete at a later time. And so the mobile app is really similar to the web app. You want to make sure that you're looking kind of at the agreement of terms checkbox. You're doing the same thing, clicking on each tab for each section. And then you want to make sure that you are confirming and making sure that you're fully submitting it. But it's pretty much the same as the web app. You want to make sure that you have your FSA ID and password. Now, it's going to ask you for financial information about you and your parents. And, the easiest way to submit this information, if you or your parents have filed for taxes, is the IRS data retrieval tool. And you'll see that as the DRT. And basically it allows for certain tax return information to be transferred from the actual IRS database to your FAFSA. It's voluntary. You can choose not to transfer this information. You can input the information in manually, but this is pretty much the easiest way to get the most accurate amount of number of, or the most accurate information needed for your FAFSA to actually be estimated correctly in terms of the financial aid that you'll get. I would reach out to either your counselor at school or here at DRW so that we can actually help you if you have any information. But however you filed your taxes, if you filed your taxes online, if your parents filed it online, it's just going to ask you for that information so that they can actually gather the information from when you filed and transfer it over to the FAFSA. So again, use the DRT if you filed online. If parents have filed online, it's the easiest way to get the information over to your FAFSA regarding financial information. It's also going to ask about asset, and we get this question a lot. Assets really means like net worth of, current value of the things that you own. And so assets can include money, assets can include college savings plan, it can include businesses or investments such as real estate. It does not include your home, it does not include life insurance or retirement plans. So if it's asking you about what assets are in regards to you and your parents, make sure that you are using this list. Here are some frequent errors that we usually see when there are people filling out their FAFSA. We see a lot of people incorrectly putting in social security numbers, a lot of people putting in parental information in regards to if they are divorced or widowed or remarried. Income is usually not reported correctly, untaxed income or taxes paid. The household size is usually wrong, number of household members in college, and if you actually have real estate or your parents have real estate. So if you know that you probably will have some issues in any of those areas, make sure that you reach out. Parent marital status is basically your parents' marital status the day the FAFSA is being submitted, right here, right now, that day. So make sure that when you are reporting your parents' information, that it is accurate. This is something that has been emailed out, who counts as my parent when I'm actually putting in the parent information. And this is really just a really good guiding tool for you. So, your parent is pretty much your, legal guardian or biological adopted, but legal guardian or parent, legal. And so, you should only be putting in the information of the parent that legally is your parent. So I want to make sure that I stress that out enough. So we often have students putting in, grandparents or aunts or uncles. If that person is not legally your parent, meaning that you haven't gone through the court, in regards to those that are outside of your biological parents, then you need to make sure that you talk to me if they are not legally your parent. And so, you wouldn't actually be determined as a dependent student, you'd be determined as independent. And so that's something that you definitely need to get help on if, you don't have a legal guardian, legal parent, biological or adoptive. So after you sign and submit the FAFSA, what's next? Basically, the results are processed to the college, given to the college as well as to the student. And basically you receive a student aid report, and basically the student aid report basically gives you information about what you put on your application. If you need to make any corrections, and this could be for any reason on your FAFSA, all you have to do is really log in and make sure that you make those corrections. You'll use your FSA ID and password to make sure that you are logging in and make those corrections. So basically, that pretty much concludes everything. That you need to successfully complete financial aid application. There are some real nuggets in there. I'm going to make sure that we email the slides out as well so that you can use them as a reference when you are completing them. If you have any questions or concerns, schedule an appointment to actually meet with me so that we can fill it out together. You can contact me and schedule your appointment at kj@drwtcollegeprep.org or email the team at drwgraduates@drwtcollegeprep. And we'll be happy to hop on a call with you so that we can help you complete your FAFSA as soon as possible. All right. Thank you so much for joining in on this conversation. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.